I'm one of the digital marketing specialists at Best Life Brands, but I specifically work on Blue Moon. I realized I said that before the recording, but I guess it doesn't matter because it was just my name. So anyway, today we're going to walk through how to improve the search visibility of your local Blue Moon estate sales website using some simple SEO best practices. This session is going to be very practical. I'm going to show you exactly where to go, how to make the updates, and what Google looks at for local searches. So really quickly, just to jump into the agenda, we are going to just go over why SEO matters, what franchisees can do on their microsites, what not to do when it comes to SEO, what measuring success looks like, and then we'll have some resources at the end of this little presentation, and we'll send that to you guys later. And then I'm going to demo live creating and updating a blog post using headings correctly, image optimization, the Yoast plugin that you guys have probably seen, updating the homepage, and then optimizing an estate sales listing. Next slide. And so I just want to start with the why before we get into the how. SEO matters because it determines whether people in your community can find your estate sales service or your estate sale online. So this means when somebody is searching estate sales in your specific city or estate liquidation near me, estate sales this weekend, or downsizing help in specific city, your website plays a major role in whether they find you or a competitor. So the good news here is that small improvements like expanding your homepage, optimizing your estate sales listings, or publishing a local blog can help you show up higher in searches, increase your traffic, and drive more inquiries. So SEO is especially important for Blue Moon because estate sales are highly local, they're time sensitive, and buyers often search right before the weekend, or organic client searches tend to lead to more qualified leads. Next slide, please. Give me one sec. So with the Blue Moon website, there's a lot you guys can control now, especially with the WordPress website. So now franchisees can update the homepage content. They can add and optimize estate sales listing descriptions. They can upload and optimize images, create blog posts, and you guys can adjust SEO titles and meta descriptions on every page. And just for a quick little note, the navigation and certain design elements are controlled by the marketing team to maintain consistency across the network. So everything I'm going to show you today, though, is something that you can do yourself. Before we jump into the demo, let's quickly talk about what not to do because this can hurt your search rankings. First, you want to avoid keyword stuffing. And this means to not repeat estate sales in city 10, 20 times in one paragraph. It is okay to have it throughout the content, which you'll notice is a best practice. But when you tend to just stuff it all into one area, Google can tell what it is you're doing. It's pretty smart. You'll also want to avoid copying description from other estate sales companies or websites because Google does penalize duplicate content. You will not want to leave your estate sales listing with only 1 or 2 sentences because then content does not rank well. Don't forget to add alt text to your images, which I'll go over later on how to do that, especially because we do rely heavily on photos. And you'll definitely want to make sure that you have licensing for the photos that you put on the website, because if you don't, you could have them taken down. And lastly, you don't want to leave outdated content on your homepage. If something references an old event or a time frame, you'll definitely want to make sure you update it. But everything else that we're going to go through today, I will demo. And so now we're going to move into measuring success. You know your efforts are working when you see trends in your Looker Studio dashboard. And so the Looker Studio dashboard is embedded directly into the back end of your website. And we had sent out the links to these Looker Studio dashboards a long time ago, or if you're newer, you will get them eventually. but they all should be embedded on the back end for you to always access. So some ways to make sure that you're measuring success is to look at the traffic and engagement metrics that are in your Liquor Studio dashboard. So this will include like increased sessions, more active users, or a higher engagement rate. If you see trends month over month getting higher and higher with each of these metrics, then you know that you're going to attract the right audience. You also have a little chart on the bottom of your Liquor Studio dashboard that will tell you the organic search traffic on your website. You'll see it says channel and medium. If you see it say organic search and then the medium will be like Google, Bing, Yahoo, things like that, month over month, if you're seeing increased sessions and users in these specific metrics, then again, you'll know that your SEO efforts are bearing fruit. And then you can also look at the estate sale listing views on the back end of the website. If you see after implementing some of these SEO strategies that your views are getting higher for your future sales, then you'll know that your SEO is heading in the right track. Lastly, a good rule of thumb is going to be with your tracking the outcomes of your leads. So this is going to be like phone calls, form submissions, things like that. When you're on the phone with somebody or you're contacting them via email, you're going to want to ask them, well, how did you find me? And so if they start telling you through Google or website, then you'll know that, cool, your SEO is helping you get more qualified leads. So just remember, SEO is a long game, but building consistency helps you build momentum over time. And then you can go to the last slide. So here's some resources that we do have linked for you guys. They are going to be in the Blue Moon portal or already are. And then we will add the live webinar to these slides so that you can come back and watch this later. And now we'll get to demoing. You guys see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet, Morgan. Yeah.
Cool. How about now?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
loading, but we got
Yep.
it. All good.
Sweet. All right. So let's start with something that gives you ongoing SEO momentum, which is going to be your blog. So we're going to navigate over here to the blog post in the back end of your WordPress. And then once it loads, slowly but surely, to add any new blog, you're just going to click on this add blog button right up here, and then it's going to open up the editor for you. But for the sake of this demo, I already created a blog, so we're going to go with this one. And then once it loads, so for Blue Moon Estate Sales, blogs help you rank for questions that people are actively searching for. For our example today, I used how to prepare for an estate sale in Little Rock, Arkansas. But you can also have some blog ideas like what to expect at an estate sales versus auctions, downsizing tips in your respective city, and things like that are good ideas to use for your blog. But before we even go into the plugins or any technical settings, the most important thing that is helpful is going to be local relevant content, which, as you can see here, I already have this in here, but you could write your blog on a Google Doc and then paste it, or your vendor could come in here and create this for you guys. But for the sake of everything, I've written the content. We have SEO friendly content here. So I'm going to show you guys how to format this correctly for SEO. Google does read headings to understand what it is your page is about. So you may have heard there's H1s, H2s, H3s, and so on. Those are just headings. And H1 is going to be your main title, which in this case is right up here. And on the website, almost every one of the title pieces at the top is always going to be formatted as an H1. So you won't necessarily have to automatically do that yourself. So then down here within the content, you can see I have these formatted, but this will be an H2 header and then an H3. And then how you want to kind of understand this is that each heading is going to be like supporting sections to the overall arching content. So this is how to prepare for an estate sale in Little Rock, Arkansas. That's the main topic. So my H3 is going to be a supporting piece. Sorry, my H2 is going to be a supporting piece about the overall H1. So I'm trying to make sure that I structured this so that when Google reads it, it knows, okay, here's topic number 1, your journey in finding the estate sale company. And then the H3s underneath that H2 is going to be my supporting pieces of the steps that you're going to take in order to find the right estate sale company. So now to change these titles, you'll just highlight the content or text that you want to be your heading. And then you'll see this drop down right here. You have a bunch of them to choose from, but I chose H2 and it ruined my H2. And so that's going to be my main topic of this piece. And then right here, I changed this to an H3, like I said, because all of the steps here are supporting my journey into finding an estate sales company. Then when you scroll down at the bottom here, you're going to notice that this text right here is back to being bigger than the other supporting text before. That's because this is a new idea or my conclusion paragraph, but this is a new idea that isn't necessarily supporting my first paragraph here. So these headings are going to help Google scan your content and readers to skim your content as well, so that they can properly see, oh, this is what the content is about. These are the supporting details, and then this is the conclusion. And this improves the overall readability of your entire content or blog page. So once your structure is clear, your page is just going to become stronger for AI crawlers. The next thing that I want to go over now that we have the content structured correctly in here is another very important SEO signal, which is going to be your images. So for this piece right here, I'm going to add in an image right at this section. Because estate sale websites are very visual, images are also going to be a big opportunity for us for SEO. So when you want to add an image to a content piece here, you'll just go add media. And you guys are probably super used to this because you do this for your estate sales listings. But you can upload your files here. I'm going to use one that's already existing on the page. But before even uploading, it is an image best practice to make sure you name the file correctly rather than just having it be like image_123 for these additional scanners. But once you have that completed, the next thing that you'll want to do is change the alt text on your images. So I think I'm going to choose this image right here. So when you open up the editor right here, you'll notice that this alt text will show up and it'll be a blank spot. This is where all of the images are going to be able to be edited for that alt text. And for this example, I can't really see what that is, but I'm going to use a very descriptive sentence for this. So I have one already made up that I'm just going to copy and paste here for you guys. But I put living room setup at Blue Moon Estate Sale in Little Rock, Arkansas. This alt text is going to be something that has your location descriptor and exactly what it is that the image is describing. So for this example, if Google crawls this and says living room setup, and I'm specifically somebody who's looking for living room setup for an estate sale, and I type that into Google, this image could show up on a Google search for somebody looking for that exact thing. And then the other thing for alt text is that it's good for ADA readers. And so there are widgets and things that are on the website that help somebody who may have a disability, and it'll read the site directly to them so they know exactly what it is they are looking at. I think we have a question, and I forgot to mention this earlier, guys, but we will get to all questions at the end. We have like a Q&A. Feel free to write down any questions that you have. And then once you have your alt text in there, you're going to hit insert into post, and then I'll insert directly into your content, and you can format it. If you click on it, you'll notice you can do a wrap text, so it'll wrap text around there. But ultimately, alt text helps Google understand your images, and it also improves accessibility. So images should support your keywords naturally, but not feel like repetitive. And then now that we have this all optimized and have the visual parts of our blog set up, which are content, headings, and images, we're going to polish this whole entire thing within Yoast. So when you're on a page like blog or any of your regular website pages, or even the estate sales listing, the Yoast plugin is going to be right down here. It's going to say Yoast SEO Premium. We're going to focus on this now. Apologies for that. But Yoast is where we're going to fine tune the SEO strategy now that we have the content written. So what I'm going to show you right now are going to be the basics of what you should do every single time you write a content piece. And then once you have these basic like pieces down, I'm going to show you how to do like good, better, best, and what you can do to go above and beyond. But first, what we're going to look at here is this focus keyword phrase. This focus keyword phrase is what you want Google to find you for. So for estate sales services, this will usually include location, your type of service, estate sale, estate liquidation, downsizing, and then the intent or the situation, which is this weekend or near me, or in this case, it's going to be how to prepare. And so once you have this keyword phrase in here, you'll want it to be throughout your content piece. So when you write your content piece, you're thinking about the main topic of it when you're first writing it, and then you can use that as your key phrase to use throughout the entire piece for this Yoast. For my example, I'm going to use the title of this, if I can type. And then once I have this key phrase in here, you would be able to add a couple more if you'd like. You can already see that my Yoast little emoji guy went from a sad face to a happy face just by adding my keyword phrase. And like I said, you can add more in here, but when you click on that get related key phrases, it's going to ask you to log into an SEMrush account. And that is the only way you'll be able to add in additional key phrases here. SEMrush is free for the first 7 days. And then I believe you have to pay for it after, but it's like a keyword planner that automatically integrates into this Yoast account. If you don't have the SEMrush, one key phrase will be enough. It should overarching be your title, like I said, or the key topic of your idea. When your key phrase appears naturally within the areas of your page, which could be your title, early in the introduction, maybe at least in one heading, in your SEO title or meta description, or somewhere on the photos, then it will help Google clearly understand what it is your page is about and increase your chances of showing up when someone searches for estate sales or how to prepare for an estate sale in your area. So next, I'm going to move down to this SEO title right here. So our website will automatically tie in the title page separator, as you can see here. It is good. As you can see, it's in the green for Yoast, so you can leave it if you would like. However, this SEO title will show you a preview exactly of what this is going to look like in Google when someone searches. So by removing this, you're able to kind of control exactly what it is will appear in front of somebody on Google. So a good formula just to use for this SEO title, if you choose not to use the standard one, would be your keyword or your key phrase, your separator, and then the brand name. So I am going to change it for this example. And I'm going to put in prepare for an estate sale in Little Rock, separator, Blue Moon Estate Sales. You can see I'm still graded green here, and I don't put Little Rock in here multiple times. You'll see if I do, I immediately go into the red. And so if you notice that you're going into the red here and you're like, oh, why is this happening? Maybe I could spell little right, but why is this happening? There is this SEO analysis right here. And if you click on it, it'll tell you that the SEO title is wider than the viewable limit, which just means there's too many characters. So then you can go back up here and edit this so you go back into the green. So now in the slug right here, this is automatically also generated based on the title of the page. And the slug is just the URL. So same thing, it would be bluemoonestatesales.com/Little Rock /how- to prepare, so on and so forth. I recommend just leaving this the way it is, but if you would like to add additional keywords to this, which might come into play when you're doing an estate sale listing specifically, just make sure you always have the dashes in between because they act as spaces and it's better readability for Google. So I just want to point out with this SEO title, what you want to ensure is that your keyword appears in the beginning, the branding is there to stay consistent, and the title is clear so that you know what it is in search results. Now to move on to the meta description, this is what's going to show up underneath Google, which it shows you a preview right here. Whatever you put here will show up. Now you can see right now it says, please provide a meta description, yada, yada, yada. If you were to leave this blank, that's not what's going to show up in Google. Google is going to automatically pull some random content within the blog that we created. So it will have something different on here, but this will allow you a level of control on what this says. So now what it should be is it should be 1 to 2 sentences. It should include your city, and it should encourage clicks to this specific listing. So I came up with an example of what you could put in here. It's going to be a bad example because I want to show you what else you guys can do to optimize this. So I generated this specific meta description here. It says planning an estate sale in Little Rock. Blue Moon Estate Sale provides professional estate liquidation. You can see that it's in the orange on this bar right here for Yoast. So then I want to come down here and see, oh, why is this a problem? Why am I not graded in the green? You'll come down here into the improvements, and then you'll see meta description linked right here. And it says that the meta description is over 156 characters. So if you click on this pencil icon right here, it'll take you immediately back up to the space that you need to edit. So I ended up coming up with a different meta description. And you can see now we're in the green here. So I want you guys to notice that this new one includes the city, includes the service, and it also sounds natural and not robotic. So I kept talking a lot about this grading scale. You keep seeing the red, orange, and green. I do want to let you guys know that you don't need to panic if everything is not green. I keep saying it's a grading system. It's not. It's just a guide to help you guys make sure that the content you're writing is optimized for SEO. So for best practices when using this widget, I want you guys to focus on the focus keyword phrase, the SEO title, and the meta description to make sure this has overall good readability. Now, if you guys want to go above and beyond this, I have a few examples of what you can do. What you'll want to do is look at this analysis results right here, and you can see that there's a couple of things that we can do to improve this overall. So one of them is going to be an outbound link. I have an example. An outbound link is going to be a link from any resource outside of the Blue Moon domain. And so I'm using our article from People Magazine. I know it's about weddings, but this is the best example I had right now. So what you're going to do is wherever it's relevant within your content, you are going to link out to it. So for this example, I'm just going to do household goods, vintage decor, tools, and collectibles. You're going to highlight it, click on this link here, and then add in the link that I just added from our outbound source. Now, when you do this, you definitely want to make sure the article that you use is relevant to the words that you guys have highlighted in this. Don't force it if it's not natural, but this is just an additional thing you guys can do to take your SEO from good to better. So now that I've added this outbound link here, you'll automatically be able to go down here and see that the outbound link is gone and that it's in the good results now. So we're in the green, we're good for this SEO. And then the other thing I wanted to point out is an inbound link. And an inbound link is anything that comes from the Blue Moon website. So in here, for example, I'm going to take the How We Help page. I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to also put this somewhere relevant to the content. So for this, I'm going to do estate sales support, link it here. And then you can come back down to the Yoast plugin and notice that the outbound link is gone. Sorry, my scroll is lagging on my end, so it didn't stop when it should have. But it will now have the inbound link down here and it's removed from the problems. So that is your additional SEO that you can do. Now, if you want to really, really go above and beyond, you can add things like an FAQ to the content, or you can add even more local references, which go beyond just adding Little Rock. You could add in specific neighborhoods or reference local landmarks within your content here. And so once you have it set up exactly the way you want it, you've optimized for your images, your headings, and then your Yoast, you're going to hit publish or update if the post is already live, and then it will become live on the back end or the front end of your site. So when you fill out Yoast properly, Google is going to understand your topic. Your page is going to display correctly in search results, and you're going to increase your chances of ranking for any of those local estate sales searches just by taking 5 minutes. It has a huge major impact on your content. So the whole flow of this should be write helpful local content, structure it clearly, optimize your images, and then finalize it in Yoast. And if you follow that order every time, you're going to build consistent and strong SEO over time. So now I want to show you guys updating the home page. So I'm going to open that on the front end real quick. Cool. So since we're not creating any new page, the home page is going to be very important for your SEO. And so the first thing that I would do was go onto your home page and scan for any opportunities for local references. And this is going to include city names, surrounding communities, even counties that you serve. And so on the home page right here is an area of opportunity that you guys are able to edit. You can see that there are no localization in this content right here. And then as you scroll down, not the lag. This is also an area that you guys are able to update on your website, but I already see that there is an area of localization, so I'll skip that for now. And then I noticed right here, which is also an area you guys can update, that there is an opportunity for some localization. So I'm going to show you guys how to update those portions. And then there is also an area of opportunity for each franchisee to add additional content in this section right here. And I apologize, I stopped scrolling like 5 seconds ago. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry. My computer's lagging really bad. So I'm trying to stop on that specific content piece and it won't let me. Okay. This might be as good as it gets right now. So there is this area on local franchisee websites that might be blank for you guys. It's going to be underneath your areas served and potentially underneath all of the logos of Chamber of Commerce that you guys are on. But you all have the ability to add content here. So for this specific website, we have areas that talk about the services. They're utilizing the H1, H2 structure correctly. And each page or each content piece is filling out, here are our services, here's what's going to make it successful, and here's how we help you in your specific area of estate sales. So I'm going to flip over to the back end and show you guys exactly how to update those sections. So if you go to pages right here, and then once it loads, you're going to navigate and find the homepage section. And then you'll look at the content pieces that are opened for you guys to be able to edit. And so give it some time to load. And so this is that first initial content piece on the header that I was talking about that had the area of opportunity to add a localized keyword. So for this specifically, I'm going to add in Little Rock. And then you can add at least a sentence or more on here, but be sure to keep this around 150 words or less just for SEO best practices. But that was one area of opportunity where we can add a localization to the section. Here is where we already had the localization, which you can see by the coding right here. And then again, this was another area of localization that you guys could add to your page. So I'm going to put of Little Rock. And then if you scroll all the way down here, you're going to notice that there is something called this Divi Builder. So when you look at your Divi Builder, if you don't already have that content on the front end of your page, you're going to see this section, this row, and then within it is going to be completely blank. What you'll want to do is hit the black or gray plus sign here, and then type in text. And then if you click on it, the editor is going to pop up directly in here so that you can start adding in each section of the services that you offer. And again, this content should definitely be something that talks to your local community about the services that you offer, and then what to expect from our sales and our services. So then once you edit that, I'm going to show you a live one. You can come in here and hit the gear, and it'll show you the editor that would have happened if you would have hit that text button. So you're going to want to first make sure this is structured correctly with the H2, because the title page is already chosen from here, and the title page is always the H1 within our WordPress sites. You're going to want to make sure this is H2, and same thing, you can highlight it and then click on this to change what it is, and then add in the supporting content around this. And so you can add it all into one text box if you would like. The styling looks a little better if you do it in each individual one, but for an SEO purpose, it's going to be readable wherever you have. So this is just going to be a very huge area of opportunity for you guys to be able to add those localized keywords, the services that you offer, and how you help families in that area. So once you have this updated, you're going to hit this plus mark right here. And then again, come up to the top of the page and then hit update, and that'll save all of your changes. And then now your homepage is more locally relevant and SEO friendly. So now I want to look at something very important to everyone, which is the estate sale listing, because for Blue Moon, this is one of your biggest SEO opportunities. Unlike a static service page, these listings are fresh, reoccurring events. So every sale you post is just another chance for you guys to show up in a local search. So you guys know the drill. You're going to click on the estate sales button. I'm not going to make any edits to this page. And then we're going to let it load. And I'm going to use this one because my birthday is March 7th, so I'm biased there. But you guys know you would add a new estate sale for any new listing that you have. I'm just going to use this one as an example here. But when you're creating your listing, you're going to start with the title, obviously. And instead of something generic like just estate sale this weekend, you're going to want to use something more descriptive and location focused. So something like estate sale in Hillcrest, Little Rock, hyphen antiques, furniture, and collectibles. Just by doing these three important things, which is include your brand, include the city or neighborhood, and highlight standout items that people search for, that's already going to put you at an advantage. And then next, you guys can, however your flow is, you can fill out these street and address and all of that, but just for the sake of SEO, the next area that's going to be very strong is going to be this about description. So in the sales detail section here, this is where you're going to really add the value. Make sure that you include the city name naturally, describe and stand out any high interest items, mention the home size, style, any unique collections, and then add dates and neighborhood references. So instead of something like lots of great items available, you could put something like this Little Rock estate sale features mid-century modern furniture, vintage glassware, fine art, and a fully furnished 3-bedroom home in the Hillcrest neighborhood. This will give Google and buyers more context to your estate sale. A next big one that you guys are probably already used to are going to be your categories, which are all over here that you're able to click and select. And then I believe you can choose your top 4 categories. Okay. Went a little too fast right here. So be thoughtful here when it comes to adding these. Categories can help you organize your content and signal relevance to anything that's here. So if a sale is featuring antiques, jewelry, tools, vehicles, collectibles, make sure those categories are selected appropriately because these help filter and help Google searches understand the context and the items that are in your sale better so that you can show up for people who are specifically looking for those items. And as we talked about earlier, photos are huge for estate sales. So like I said, when uploading, make sure you're renaming your files appropriately and add a descriptive alt text. Great example here would be vintage oak dining room at Blue Moon Estate Sales in Little Rock. And because listings often show dozens of images, this means you guys have dozens of opportunity to strengthen your estate sale for SEO. And then lastly, at the bottom of the page here, there is Yoast. Don't forget about it. So just like blog posts, Yoast is available on your estate sale listing. So this means you could add in that focus key phrase of estate sales in Little Rock, whatever the title is, update your SEO title to include the city, and then add a clear meta description that encourages link clicks to your sale. This all only takes a few minutes, so this will make a major difference in how your sale will show up in searches. So each listing is fresh local content, and Google loves fresh local content. If you host sales regularly and optimize each one properly, you're continuously building search visibility within your market, and that consistency will add up in the end for you guys. And so that is all that I had demoed for you guys today. I would like to open up the floor for any questions or if there's anything I can clarify for you guys.
Yeah, so Colin, you have a question. You have the first question, and then AJ will be next. Go ahead, Colin.
Oh, hi. Actually, I wasn't aware that I'd raised my hand, but I must have clicked on it by accident. However, I do have a question. Um, Ever since we've been paying somebody monthly for search engine optimization on our website, will proper usage of these techniques and Yoast, do they replace that, or do we still need to be paying out for a third-party support?
Yes, Yoast should never be a replacement for a vendor at any point because they're also helping you, well, assuming that they also help you write your content as well. This is definitely just a guide to help you guys specifically with making sure your website or your content that you're creating is like relevant and localized and giving you the opportunity to kind of DIY it. I would suggest that you have your vendor work with the Yoast because if they're coming up with SEO titles and meta descriptions, they're just going to want to put it into the Yoast plugin for you. But they're definitely not a replacement because this isn't going to tell you what to write. It's just going to tell you how to better it. So then your vendor can at least help you with what to write. They're writing those SEO titles. They're writing that meta description for you. So they should kind of couple their services with Yoast.
I see. Mostly what they're doing is monitoring what's going on rather than creating.
Gotcha. I would need to see your specific package on what it is they're monitoring to kind of help with this question further, because that sounds a little vague. Like, what are they monitoring?
Maybe I could follow up with one of you then.
Yeah, if you want to follow up, you can send something to the support portal or email digital or email me, and we can help you there.
Thank you.
Okay, AJ, you're next.
Sorry, yeah, 1 second. Sorry, I have a. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, not anymore.
AJ, we can't hear you anymore. So we're going to skip you now and just go to Danielle Roberts, who's next.
Do you hear me now?
And then
Sorry.
we'll come. Oh, sorry, AJ, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I was having
okay.
technical difficulties. Do you hear me now?
Yes. Mhm.
Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. So the question I have is regarding the content. Do we or do you recommend we reuse some of the content that is in the HQ blog, or reference it, or just it's a good idea to just create a new content?
Yes, definitely creating new content. You're not going to want to copy and paste any of the corporate blogs that we have created. I believe they also automatically flow onto your page anyway. So that could just potentially flag a risk of duplicative content if you do that.
Okay, new is better. Okay, got it. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, Danielle, I believe that you are next.
Okay, so I haven't used the Yoast at all. Can you go through a quick example of like where you have up right now on an actual estate sale? Like what would my key phrase, what would I want those things to be? I'm having trouble understanding. It just seems like a repeat to me.
Yeah, Yoast is going to be the key phrase on Yoast is what you want Google to like put you in front of what you want people to search for. So for instance, I don't know if I have somebody off the top of my head to use as a complete example to show you live. But for the key phrase, a really good rule of thumb would be to like use whatever your title is. If you use the formula that I was talking about, where it would be something with a city, something with the brand, and then high ticket items.
So I can just copy the title of my estate sale into my key phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then the next thing in the Yoast is the description, right?
Yes.
And then I would just kind of take whatever my sale details are and paste that, or make it shorter and paste it in there.
Yes, it needs to be about 100, and for Yoast, it's 156. I think some rule of thumb is from 200 or less. But for Yoast to get like what it likes to see is 156 characters or less, and it would be descriptive of what your sale is. And you could still kind of use that formula of location, high ticket items within your description. You want it to be like encouraging people to read it and click on it because they're interested in the items. But then you also want to think about, for Google, it's going to be like, oh, if somebody is looking specifically for tools and they put tools in your Google search and there's a lot of tools in your sales, you'll want to add that somewhere within like the description or the key phrase or something like
Okay.
that.
And
So
if I can just
our
add a little-
sales, oh,
Go ahead.
Deb.
I was going to say, if I can just add a little bit about the title. I know you often have really long titles, but there is a character limit on the title. It says keep it at around 60 characters. So you'll have to just manipulate it to make sure it can hit that while also providing those key.
That's on the
Keyword.
Yoast part, right?
Yes,
Okay.
just on the Yoast
Okay.
Correct.
And then 156 words for the description.
characters for the
So
description. Yeah.
our sales are very time specific. I mean, after the sale is over, is that going to stay on Google forever and people are going to be clicking on my old sale from last year? Like, that's the problem that I'm having with this, because I don't want them clicking on old sales and then asking me if these tools are still available. You know what I mean? Does it go away?
Do you want to take it, Deb, or you want me to grab it?
I was going to say, because the sale would have passed, it wouldn't be relevant information for the user to be searching for sales and tools because the date would have already passed. And so Google
just
wouldn't
know and it won't
necessarily
pull up.
showcase that. They want to provide relevant information for a user, and it wouldn't be something that Google would show because the date would have already passed for the sale.
Okay, so it's
Morgan,
smart
I don't know if you want to
know.
add anything to that.
No, I was gonna say the same thing. So
But I mean, if they just do a search, it doesn't matter what the date is, it's still going to come up as tools. If they just are searching Blue Moon and tools, it's still going to come up like just like everything else does in Google. Like it'll come up like further down the search, but it's still going to come up.
That was my point.
yeah, so Google finds all of its information and data based on like things that are in storage. So the website does store an archived sale for a certain amount of days, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. So that's why you'll probably notice that some of those sales will still be within the Google ecosystem, but you're right. They should be going down further and further within the pages because of the fact that Google is smart enough to understand relevancy and date ranges. So it does, the internet's forever, as they say. So there's information for it to see, but it eventually like decays basically. So it's not an immediately gone forever. It's like a decay factor is what Google uses.
Yeah.
Sales are archived after 10 days.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, only the photos are stored. So the copy goes away 10 days after the sale has ended.
Is there any other questions?
It looks like AJ may have another question, and then Sharon has one. AJ, if you would like to take yourself off mute so you can ask your question. Okay, let's move on to Sharon. If you
Yes,
have a
hi.
question.
Yes, I do. Thanks, Morgan, for the great presentation. I don't know if I missed it, but is there a way to put a web link at our main page?
Is there a way to put a web link on your main page? That's what you're asking?
Yes.
Yes. Let me go back. in that text area for sure, in that Divi builder I was talking about, it does allow you to link like a link in there, exactly how I showed kind of in the blog. If it wants to load. I apologize for my so slow computer today. Maybe. And then in these content sections as well, it has that same ability that you saw on the blog where you can highlight it and then click on that link. So yes, on your main page, you do have the ability to add links to these specific areas if you choose to.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, it looks like AJ, you confirmed you have no further questions. Thank you. And then Danielle, it looks like you may have another question.
Yes. So you mentioned titles on photos when you upload the photos, and you need to have the title with the location, and I forget what all you say. I mean, we upload hundreds of photos every sale. Like, it's not really reasonable for us to go in and type all of that. Can you explain to me what exactly you're meaning?
Yes. So that is kind of a trade-off there in that situation. I think that how I put it is that it's a really great opportunity. That's a dozen, I don't know, however many photos worth of opportunities for you guys to add in those alt descriptions to those images. I wouldn't say you need to do it every single time because I do understand that's cumbersome, but that is just kind of one of those like trade-off situations. It's a opportunity that you guys can take to increase more SEO visibility within your images. If you choose to do so, I just wanted to show how exactly you do that. If there's maybe some more high ticket items that you guys are looking to get in front of people, that is maybe where you take the route of adding alt text to those. But it is important in the grand scheme of things, not only just for SEO, but for ADA readers, to be able to read those out for people who may have like a disability. So I totally understand the sentiments that there's hundreds and hundreds of images. It's just one of those things that you can choose to do or not to do. Or
but if we're gonna do it, you said we should have our location of our I'm Houston, like Northwest Houston, we should have that in the title. And I know that the Valuable app, even though I haven't tested this part yet, said that they can add all these titles to the pictures, but they're only adding the title of what the item is. They're not adding in what our location is. This is the new app that we're being made to pay for now. And I don't know that it's going to do what you're saying it should do. So
actually, with the integration, Danielle, it is pulling in automatically the image description, the image like details in the alt text. It won't be localizing it, but it will be pulling in that information, which will already help with SEO.
Okay, but I don't need to go back and put my location because Morgan is saying we should really have our location on there too, but Valuable doesn't do that.
Let me see if I understand correctly. Does this mean that we need the location on each individual descriptor on the alt text or not?
I don't think that Morgan said that that's important for the image description. I think that that's more for the content that you're creating. The image description should likely be just describing that image and describing it in a way that would benefit the user who's looking for that image. I don't necessarily think that somebody would be looking for like a specific item in Little Rock. They're looking for that item in general. And if they're searching in the Little Rock area and you have an alt text for that item that speaks to whatever it is, say it's like a famous painting or whatever the terminology is, then that is what will allow the search engines to to show that for the user who's searching for it. It's really, and for the ADA readers, the alt text is important because it'll read out the image description in that way. Does that make sense and clear it up?
I think that it's definitely like, it's just a good recommendation to add things like that to the images too. And I think I did have an example that had like Blue Moon Estate Sales Little Rock in the description. And I think it's not necessarily to have it on every single image description. I was just giving examples and best practices of what you could be putting in some of these descriptions. For the most part, the alt text should be describing what it is that the photo is for Google and for ADA readers. And then where naturally you can add location indicators in there to like help in certain areas. It's not like a requirement. And then one other thing I did want to add for everybody that I don't think I clarified too much as well is that what you put within Yoast is not your set in stone only thing that you'll search for, especially for an estate sale listing. If you put in the title, tools, vehicles, jewelry, that does not exclude every other piece or item that you have within your sale at all. I don't want you guys to feel that you're limited to a character count because you have so many awesome items that you still want to search for. This is just a tool that will help boost you in front of searches. And then people can read through and see all the different awesome items that you guys offer there. It's not restrictive in that sense at all. It's definitely just more of a helper. So I did want to clarify that. I'm going to stop presenting if no one wants me to demo anything.
I guess I had one more question. I don't want to take over everything. I was trying to spread them out. But on the Divi part, the website, the Divi, I guess I was naive and I thought that all that stuff you showed was on all of our pages. But what you're saying is that Little Rock went in and created that separately on theirs. I guess I thought that was something the franchise did for us. So now I need to go look at my page. But I didn't quite understand the Divi, the clicking. Is that something I could follow up after if I needed to? Because I didn't understand how you put in the text and then clicked on the gear, and I didn't kind of understand how it all went together, I guess is my question. I thought it was already there. I thought the franchise already did that for us.
Yeah, if you want to follow up again and want me to show you how to do that, I totally can. I think that for that area specifically, there was a point, and I don't know if anyone hired HLM or the franchise or did that for you guys, but there were franchisees that historically already had that content on their website. And I believe HLM was like, we did that themselves. So we just, moving forward, we just kept that as an option for franchisees who didn't pay for a vendor to add that content to their website to be able to add as
So I
well.
may have it on there because I did have HLM at one point many, many years ago. But like I said, I guess I just need to go in there and look. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll reach out to you, Morgan, if I need to know how to do it, because it was that part was kind of fast.
Sorry. Okay.
It's okay.
Good to know though.
No, it's a lot. I get it.
Colin, you had asked if there will be a recording of this webinar. Yes, we will be adding the link to the slides and sending that out as a follow-up email to everyone. So the recording will be included on the resources page.
Right. Thank you, Deb.
You're welcome. And Danielle, I just double checked and you do have that content on your homepage.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. And I wanted to thank everyone, and yeah, If you guys, as Morgan said, if you have any questions, feel free to submit a support ticket and we can take you through it. And also just keep an eye out for the slides to come after the fact. That includes a link to a number of resources that can help you take advantage of these additional SEO content fields and help you better optimize your websites. So thanks everyone for the time today.
Thank
Thank you.
Your day.